I don't cry when it rains no more, or I get dirt on my shoes. I don't mind climbing 8 more floors, 'cause these stairs are all heading to you. I don't wait for tomorrow's sunshine when I feel it today. But when it's cold in the dead of winter, remember that snow melts away. One more cold drink, one more roll, one more dance before the doors get closed. Please remember, enjoy the show. Let's get happy before we get old. We don't need plans or a fancy agenda. Well, let's just see where it goes. We got no care for the way people stare at the dust and the dirt on our clothes. Hey, my friend, we'll never say
Hey, everybody, come on into the Cajun Cooking Experience. This is Buddy coming to y'all live tonight around the world. Man, look, I missed y'all the last couple weeks. Been real busy. It's a blessing. But this week, I had to go on because we have a special week in St. James Parish. It's the Festival of the Bonfires coming up. And one of the major, biggest gumbos they cook, especially on the east bank of the river, is they love their red bean gumbo, and it has some tradition behind it. And it's a really good gumbo. It's something different. And doing the research on this gumbo, it's amazing what I found out around the United States, what they call a red bean gumbo. Y'all, it's crazy. I'll get to some of that later. But this Friday night, if you like gumbo and you like to eat everybody, 100 different gumbos, 100 different people cooking gumbos, 100 different, just different teams. Friday night at the Festival of the Bonfires in Lucha, they're going to, I think it starts at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. You actually can start tasting gumbos. For $10, you can taste up to 100 gumbos. Man, if you can handle that, you are bad. But then that festival goes on Friday from 2 to 11, Saturday 9 to 11, and Sunday 10 to 6. In the evenings, a lot of bands playing, a lot of different kinds of music, lighting up bonfires. It's just a St. James Parish tradition with all these bonfires. And the festival helps support us having those bonfires across the river, those 250 bonfires they light on Christmas Eve night. That help support that. So if you get a chance, go out there and see go to the festival. Go check it out. Go eat you some gumbo. But tonight we're gonna cook a red bean gumbo. Many ways to do this. There's no right way, there's no wrong way, there's no East Bank and there's no West Bank way. It's just what you like anything else. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna make a roux. Okay. And you can see I got this oil pretty darn hot right now. What's up, Mildred? What you just said, Darren? And you see this little scoop? That's a half a cup, but that's too slow for me. What's up, Hollywood? I got to come in a little bit quicker than this. So, who invented this red bean gumbo? What'd you say, Michael? Where did this come from? There's a lot of ideas out there. I really believe a lot of these gumbos and made with Blue Runner red beans. Blue Runner started many years ago in Union, which is in St. James Parish, and eventually moved to Ascension, and where it's currently located in Gonzales. So Blue Runner, under different names, and we'll get to that later, been around for a long time. It's a huge selling thing. Just think about it. It gets you to use some Blue Runner red beans and your red bean gumbo. The more it's being cooked out there, the better it is for Blue Runner. Hey, Sherman, Hollywood, you could have called me. I eat that. Man, look, I told you I don't have to call you. You just come anytime. What's up, Mike? Now we're just going to get our roux going. And we want a nice little dark roux for this. We don't need a light roux. And because not only the roux going to help thicken this, but these red beans are going to thicken this. Now, something I did tonight, there's one or two ways you can do this. Oh, Cleveland, what's happening, brother? Yeah, you're right, cuz. There's one or two ways you can do this. You can boil your own beans. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you're going to have to take them and put them in a food processor or something like that so that, and I got to get this curse out the way because it's blocking people. Because if you don't pass them, if you cook them whole and you don't let them get real creamy, they'll have whole beans in your gumbo. If you don't mind that, there's nothing wrong with that. I like it kind of a mixture. Doesn't matter to me. Or you can use the Blue Runner, which is not available all over. What'd you say, David? So, get our roux going, and I'm gonna show you. Hello, Lucy. This is the can of Blue Runner red beans that I used tonight. There's not many things I'll eat out of a can. I'll tell you right now, I could take these red beans, doctor them up, and you'll never know they came out this can. We grew up, if you grew up in the River Parish of St. Charles, St. John, and St. James Parish, Ascension Parish, I promise you, you had this Blue Runner red beans many, many nights. And you know how to doctor it up. Probably cook your little onions down, a little sausage, let that cook down real good and throw them Blue Runners in and let them cook down a little bit. It's already cooked. They're nice and creamy. They're very, very creamy. Man, it'll knock your socks out. Hollywood, do you ever cook cabbage? Oh, yeah, that's going to be coming up soon. Lucy, Blue Runner all the way. See, Lucy's over there from Reserve. They guarantee you. They grew up in that and probably in her daddy's store. He probably sold that. So they went in the store, grabbed a few cans of Blue Runner and cooked it up. And then in our days, the sausage that we used to cook with back then was Veron sausage, which was from Lutcher. So we had all local ingredients in there. And if you were lucky, you had a truck foreman that grew some onions, and you had the onions out the peel. Some onions and shallots, little smoked sausage. So many times I've cooked this, or it was cooked for me, didn't know that it was Blue Runner beans. What'd you say, Roland? We're cooking a little red bean gumbo tonight, celebrating the Festival of the Bonfires in Lutcher, Louisiana. So if you want to, you get Dawn B to go over there in Lutcher at the park. Best part about it, man, pay that $10 Friday night and you can eat you some gumbo. And hopefully it's got a little cool weather. That gumbo is really going to go down good. And when I tell you 100 people cook with gumbo, you're going to have 100 different flavors in that gumbo. They have all kinds of categories. They have wild game. They have red bean. They have regular. So, it's all over the place. You got seafood. You go get the kind that you like. But he said, Brian, yeah, what's going on? Man, this is going to be a good one. So I like red bean gumbos. That's something I eat often. On this side of the river on the West Bank, it's hit and miss. You either like it or you don't like it because it breaks away from tradition. But once you cross that river, it's really big across the river. I'm going to get this fire up a little bit more. Okay. So I get my roux going. So red bean gumbo, like I said, it's a true River Parish tradition. Now, somebody told me, Dan Aberdeen, he wrote in one of my posts one day that he believed that red bean gumbo was invented right here in St. James Parish by the Martin family from the Grand Point area. Could be true. Not really sure where it started from. It was the same family that used to cook sauce pecan at the Jazz Fest every year. So you cooking? No, Roland, I'm not cooking Friday. I've never been I've been in one contest in my life, and I didn't like it. I just didn't enjoy it. So I'd rather go over there and just maybe be a judge or eat some. And I may be that judge in that Friday night. So it could have been started by the Martin family. That's very, very possible. But you didn't find any newspaper articles on red bean gumbo until the early 1980s. Right next to me, Hollywood. Elaine, Hollywood looking for his cousin. So early 1980s, this is when you started seeing it hit the newspapers. I'm not saying they weren't cooking it yet. I'm just saying that, and we just started seeing it appear all over the country in newspapers, which was weird. Believe me, their red bean gumbo was nothing like we cook over here. They were just using that term because it was starting to catch on, the Cajun red bean gumbo, right? But there's an article in the paper in 1982, and it was written in the newspaper. Oh yeah, Timmy. It was written in the newspaper in Opelousas, the Daily World, and they said they interviewed a guy named was Dingo Roussel. He had a grocery store across the river. I know his family, and he had a recipe for the red bean gumbo, and he made them with Blue Runner. And what he did, he passed them through a blender. What I did, I took that can right here, it's my red beans, and I took some chicken stock, got it real hot, dumped the cans into a big pan, and I took immersion, and I just kept on working the beans. You don't have to do this. If you like it whole or you just want to smash them in your gumbo, that's fine. You can do that. And this pot is getting hot. I saw Rouse's had black eyed pea gumbo recipe a few years ago. That's interesting. I would try it. It's interesting because I'm getting ready to blow your mind with a gumbo I found in the newspaper. Does that cast iron pot cook gumbo better than the stainless steel pot? To me it does. Roland, to me it does, because you get that more, the heat's real even. You get to make look, it might be my imagination. I'm a big fan of cast iron, but if you use stainless steel and you have that thick bottom, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. Both of them will work well. Now, what I'll do with stainless steel, I'll make my roux in this cast iron pot. That's something I like to do. And I call it the back asswards gumbo, where I'm balling my andouille and sausage and all right here on the side. I'll make my roux, and after it cools off a little bit, I bring the roux into the gumbo. Works really, really well. I'll show y'all that one night. It's a little different, but it gives you better control over your gumbo, especially your thickness. Hey, Lauren, Steve, tuning in from Australia. Roux looking good, mate. Thank you, my brother. We always love to see our people from Australia. Now, you see, my roux's gotten a little tight. One of the things you can do, I'm cooking with lard. If I could bring a little avocado oil in, loosen it up a little bit so I can spread it out. But it's getting a real good color. And I tell you, with my Cajun cooking experience and all the years I was open, people who would come down from Australia were all really fun, good people. They came here to have a good time. And I even had a few people go through my Cajun cooking experience from Australia. And it's really just a blast. They're fun. They know how to cook. They love our Cajun culture. And it's just fun to be with them. Okay, let's take a little peek in that pot. Let me see. I got to remember where I put my I got to uncover my. All right. Now you see I got a nice color roux right here. A nice dark brown. Just about where I need to be with this roux. I'm gonna keep it here a little bit because I'm getting ready to put the onions in. Now, before the 1980s, I saw a lot of recipes. Oh yeah, it's looking good and it's smelling good in here. Tomorrow, this smell will be in here for 2 days. Oh, brilliant. Keep on stirring, brother. You got that. The funny thing is, before 1980, what they call red bean soup. This could have been a tradition that the red bean gumbo could have copied off of. There were a lot of red bean soups. What was a red bean soup? A lot of the recipes I saw there, basically what we do to cook our red beans today. Except that maybe they were pureed of red beans and after they finished cooking, and it would be more soupy. I saw a lot of recipes like that in the papers, in the newspapers. Okay, now got a nice brown color. Time to bring the onions in. Remember, you want these onions cooking. You want these onions cooking a little while. And let's get it back on main camera. Tim, get me back now. I'm a professional, Timmy. I would never use kitchen bouquet. How many times I have to tell you that? So in case anybody doesn't know, I don't have any kitchen bouquet in this place. I refuse to use it. Love me some red bean gumbo. Richard Russell made it all the time. Yeah, I remember they may have had one of his recipes. I may have been Tim and his wife had the recipe in the paper, and that may have been from him. But and it was a really good recipe. And I remember in the recipe, if I'm right, Terry, they would puree the beans, if I'm right. Lucy thought that was funny too, Timmy. So this is something different, just something different. Now, in 2012, they had a Houston newspaper. I remember all over the United States, this red bean gumbo is catching on. So they want to cook. They want to cook gumbo. They want to cook this red bean gumbo because this thing evidently is hot in our area. They had a black bean gumbo. I found that very interesting. And it was made with okra croutons. What the hell was an okra crouton? A battered okra, fried, and you would add like, okay, you get a bowl, you get three okra croutons in your gumbo. I found that one really interesting. I'm gonna bring my celery in here, my shallot bottoms. And I just want to cook this season down a little bit before I start adding my water. Now remember, the red beans are going to thicken it up a little bit. But I did add some water to them red beans so I could puree them. And now look, sometimes I'll puree them, and sometimes I decide that I like the whole beans in it. What's up, Rabbit? One of my favorites looking good, baby Santa Spud can bring me a bowl for Christmas. Brother, I hand deliver that thing for you for Christmas down in Norco, Louisiana. Okay, I'm gonna add my garlic in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring my undoing and my sausage in so it can fry down a little bit. Now, one of the things that when you what's up, Smurf? One of the things you find when you find gumbo recipes all over the United States, one thing they don't have the smoked meats that we have. They do some stuff, they'll put stuff in there, but what they don't have that we have, and I'm gonna tell you more about that, they don't have our smoked meat that we make down here in the river parishes. Pruny, can you put okra in the red bean gumbo? Pruny, if that's what you like, absolutely. I would like it. Most people would tell you hell no, but I would like it with the okra. If you do put the okra, remember this, you have to back off on your roux a little bit because your okra and your red beans will be thickeners. What's up, Calvin Bourbon? It's been a long time, brother. Don't worry, I know you stopped by one day and I wasn't here. Now, something very interesting I found. There was a vegan gumbo, a vegan red bean gumbo. I found in the Florida paper in 2013. What the hell is a vegan gumbo? And when I read it, let me tell you what it is. It's a pot of red beans. That's it. I read the recipe and I went, this is nothing but a pot of red beans. But what they did, this was interesting. They made it like a jambalaya. They took and they fried down their seasonings. Ever put tasso? Mike, sometimes I'll have tasso for it. Sometimes I won't. If I have the tasso, I'll put it in here. Got to be careful with it because remember that tasso is super spicy. So with this vegan gumbo, what they did, they cook their seasoning down. Then let me get this fire up. I'm gonna explain this to y'all. Then after they cooked it down, the seasoning down, they put the rice, the water, they put some okra in it. They put everything in there, brought it back to a ball, put it on a simmer and cover it for 35 minutes. Now, y'all, I don't know what kind of red beans they have, but I've never had red beans that cooked in 35 minutes unless they were putting canned beans in. They didn't say. But they would let that simmer, the rice and all, raw rice, and they would let it simmer. Hell, that's the way we cook a jambalaya. So instead of a vegan red bean gumbo, it sounded like a vegan red bean jambalaya to me. But they had to call it gumbo. Wanted that fancy name. Oh, you said, Roy. Oh, yeah, anytime, brother. Okay. Now we want to get this thing back up boiling. What I did heat up my stock so I can get this, hopefully get this thing boiling a little sooner. because we need to get this roux cooking out of here. That roux, as that water boils, it's gonna start thickening up in there. Once it starts thickening up, it's gonna start giving us some body in here. So where in the river parishes, why do we have this blue runner tradition? Why are we so crazy about blue runner? Because I'm gonna tell you, if you grew up out here, you ate blue runner and you'll still eat blue runner. Like I said, I don't eat many canned goods. It's very seldom, but I will eat some blue runner red beans if they cook right. Michael Rowley, vegan anything never crossed my lips. One night, Michael, I'm actually gonna make a vegan jambalaya. It's gonna blow your mind, but it's actually very good. But I promise you one thing, there's some smothered pork chops on the side of it, no doubt. But Blue Runner, it started in 1918 as the Union Canning company in Union, so basically that's St. James Parish. Grew up in Parish from 1954 to 72. Hadn't heard of this. Donna, okay, 54 to 72. I'm gonna tell you why. You don't see it in papers till the 80s. This is maybe the reason you never heard of it. Until the 1980s, there was no such thing as this unless they had articles in the local paper, our Vastry Enterprise, or News Examiner, that I couldn't find those. Time to take a sip. What's better, red beans out the can or leftover beans out the freezer? Roland always leftover beans out the freezer because the red beans out the freezer. Why go buy some canned beans when you have some in the freezer? Use them, and not only that, they season your way. So you know that the way you like your beans is the way they're gonna go in your gumbo. So I would say always use the ones that you cook if you have them already. Hey, Sue says she ate some red bean gumbo tonight. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look in that pot. You'll see some nice color. Timmy Becknell without kitchen bouquet. And this is the way a professional does it, Timmy. So you see the nice color for this gumbo, and that's gonna blend in real good when these red beans come in. Now, the company, Mr. Chauvin started this, Pierre Chauvin started this at 21 years old when he started his company. And then he used his grandmother's recipe, slow cooking them, and he slow cooked them with ham hocks. What do ham hocks do for you? Ham hocks are full of a good lard, a good fatty piece, gives a lot of good flavors. When you cook the ham hocks, all that flavor, all that coming out is lard, and that lard's going to make you some really creamy beans. Lucy, my red beans out the freezer started out in the can. I'm gonna say Lucy really loves her Blue Runner red beans. Oh, Chad, join late. What you started with the roux? Chad, we're cooking a little red bean gumbo tonight, brother. Roy, have you ever made a dry roux? Yes, I have. It works really well. If you like a dry roux, it works well. Best way I found to make it is in the oven. I've tried to make it in the black pot and I've succeeded, but you're gonna work, and you're gonna work hard because this pot gets hot. You better be rolling, and you better not let it stick to the bottom. I think gumbo is thirsty. It needs a sip of beer. Thank you, Mike. I thought you'd never tell me about that. Pruny. Okay, Pruny, look, she's talking to Sue. Okay, let's get this thing up. Okay, it's almost ready to come to a boil. And this is gonna, once it gets to a boil, you let this cook a while. You don't want to bring them beans in. I'm gonna bring the rest of this in. You don't want to bring them beans in right away, because you want to let this flavor, this roux cook into this beans good, and you want to get the enzymes and starches out this flour first, okay? But after about 1946, another sip of beer, Mr. Chauvin partnered with Clay Anglade, and he moved the operation to Gonzales. So they started growing, and they formed the Gonzales Products Company. Their beans were always placed in first place in contests, fairs, festivals, whatever they were competing in, their red beans would always come out first place. So eventually led to the name Blue Runner, because they Well, eventually led to the name Blue Ribbon red beans. Blue Ribbon Creole cream style red beans. That was the name of them. And then, which eventually inspired the name Blue Runner. Then in 1993, a guy by the name of Richard Thomas bought it. And it's still today, he renamed it Blue Runner Foods. And today it's still in Gonzales, Louisiana, on Highway 44, where it's been for many, many, many years. And like Lucy said, if it's in her freezer, she said it probably came out of a can. Man, look, if you down to 1 or 2 people in the family, 3 people in the family, really, if you don't want to take the time to cook those beans out from raw, if you have Blue Runner, I can't tell you about any other canned beans, but if you have Blue Runner, they're going to work perfect. They're going to come out perfect every time, especially us, because your mama taught you how to doctor these things up. And one thing about Blue Runner, if you run races in New Orleans, 5K, 10K, half marathons, whatever, one thing about it, Blue Runner is probably going to be on the big races. And you see that Blue Runner tent, after you finish that race, you headed there first. Catch a beer on the way, because it's going to be a long line, and it gives you some good nutrition, some good carbs, some good proteins. And it's going to build you up after that race. That's the first thing I go for, the Blue Runner red beans after a race. All right, let's get this thing rolling. And it's getting ready to start boiling. Now, one of the things we're going to put, Desmond, what's happening, brother? One of the things I'm going to put, if you can see it in this jar, let me do a top down so you can see. Some raw eggs. One of the things that go really well in a red bean gumbo are raw eggs. If you want to say, Claude, if you want to put just some boiled eggs in there after, that's fine. You want to put a little bit of each, that's fine. But those raw eggs at the end, we're going to put them in and they're going to poach in here. Maybe it's in my head, but that right there makes the difference in your red bean gumbo. Don't add red beans, put some shrimp, crab meat, and fish. Timmy, that's coming another night. I like the way you think, though. Bruce, what's up, my brother? It's been a while, man. Okay. And what I like to do is, after you put this water and this roux is starting to boil, I like to go ahead and keep this thing stirring, because that roux is settled down. So until this thing boils a little while, I'll make sure nothing's sticking at the bottom. Now look, I stir for 2 reasons. Number 1, this is what I'm looking for, so nothing sticks. And number 2, I just can't keep still. If I wasn't live, I'd have my beer and I'd have my music on. I'd be dancing to this pot. Bring my different color bell peppers in. Just gives that different, all these bell peppers have a different sweetness. We just hit on all of them. And it gives you some beautiful color in your gumbo. So why not? Now, when I cut up my parsley, I don't like to waste anything, okay? So some people will take the stems and don't use them. There's your parsley stems. I put them in everything. And if I don't want to put them in the food, I'll use them to make my stock. Do you recommend the creamy Blue Runner beans? Mike, I like them the best because when I cook my beans from raw, that's the way I like to cook them, creamy. I love my beans really creamy, red beans and white beans both. So yeah, that's the ones I would recommend. Cook some jambalaya in the hotel. Let's see, Russell, using a rice cooker with Blue Runner canned jambalaya base. Not bad. Okay. I saw they had that, so I'm glad to hear that. So my friend Wayne Waggerstack across the street, he cooks a jambalaya in a rice cooker all the time. Nothing to do with Blue Runner, but he's got his recipe. He follows the recipe, and it comes out perfect every time. So maybe I'll get that, especially when I write my cookbook, I'll have it in there. But that's what he uses for his family all the time. Okay, we're starting to get a little boil in this pot. Let's take a peek down in there. Dylan said he just ate some red bean gumbo he made Saturday. There you go. There one of Elaine washing dishes. Just getting them off the table. So Gumbo, like we had, tell us what beer you're drinking. Tonight I'm drinking a Beta Amber. I like the these local beers. I like microbreweries. Love to go in the microbrewery and drink the darkest beer they have, and I haven't been disappointed yet. But Chad, tonight is going to be a Beta Amber. Beta has many different flavors, and this is the one I like the best. Sonia, what's happening, Sassy? Texas beans are the best. Yeah. So I've heard, Sassy. We did Texas. I think this is what she's getting at. We did Texas beans at a catering job one time. We had to have them. Nobody touched it. They ate all the rest of our Louisiana food, and nobody ate them damn Texas beans. Okay, Michael says he just found Blue Runner beans on Amazon. Give them a try, Mike. But if you're going to cook them, smother some onions down, some shallots, whatever your seasonings you like, and get your favorite smoked sausage. Smother it down first before you put those beans in. It's going to make a difference. Don't just cook them out the can. BJ, looking good, partner. Thank you, brother. Oh, man. Now we got a good little roll going here. Got to keep it rolling. I'm going to bring my shallots in now. And tonight, Christmas Eve night, anybody out there going to be, if you're a local way you can take this job, or you're coming to Louisiana, take Christmas Eve night, 7 o'clock, Christmas Eve night, you're probably going to have 200 bonfires lit at one time, all in the levee. And what they do, you just ride in your car and you can just follow the line of all the different bonfires. It's one hell of a party. If you find a place to park, you can go walk on the levee, go by the bonfire, go to somebody's house. They probably feed you some gumbo or whatever else they're cooking, and you probably find some red bean gumbo. But it's a tradition. Those bonfires burning on the levee have been a tradition even before, like when we came from Europe. That was a tradition brought over from Europe because the bonfires were burned back then for different reasons. And Sonia says she's partial to camellia beans. That's because she has a granddaughter named Camellia. I got you, Sassy. So now I've got this thing boiling. So, but as the Europeans came over, we used to burn our bonfires in our backyard, in a pasture. They still kept that tradition going. Jimmy, I got the Madeleines, brother. I got some in the freezer right now, and I'll have some fresh ones next week. We have plenty. So in case anybody, Jimmy said he needs 2 Madeleines, Mr. James Bourgeois, if you looking for Madeleines, I have them already if you haven't need them for Christmas, and I'll have more next weekend. But that bonfire tradition, all through the 1700s, 1800s, as we started establishing our river parishes, people kept burning those bonfires. Started behind, like in the backyard or in the pasture. Eventually, it went to the river, right along the river. But after 1930, when those levees got a lot taller, then we started building on the levee. World War II kind of went down in tradition because a lot of the men were fighting wars. After World War II, this area, St. James Parish, the East Bank of St. James Parish, has kept that tradition up. And then also in Derryville, in St. John Parish, this is the area they built a bonfire that's engineered. It's so big and so fancy, it's engineered. I don't know what it is this year. What is it? 2 ducks. Now it's probably going to move. It's amazing, and these things look real, and they're going to burn it. And I promise you, the person who's engineering is already starting. He's already starting for next year. Donald said his son works at a beer brewery. They make a really good beer. I mean, it really is good. And I always like to keep it local. Okay, we got our gumbo going. This is our red beans. Now, how much to put, that is going to be up to you. Let me bring it down. You'll be able to see the creaminess of these beans. Look how creamy these beans are. And that's, if you want to pass them through a food processor, that's fine. I just took my little emulsifier blender and I mixed a little stock in there and blended them together and just blended them for a while. because I don't own a food processor. Don't need one. Okay, now we're starting to get that red tint color of the beans. Once this comes back to a ball, we're going to start tasting this. Now, normally what you would do, once you put these red beans in here, you let it cook for about a half hour. We're working on it live, so we're going to speed it up a little bit. But once you get to this point, this whole project should probably take you about an hour and a half because you want everything to cook really, really well and blend in. Now, I cooked it with andouille sausage. No turkey necks. I had turkey necks, but I didn't cook turkey necks with this. But when I made my stock, I boiled some turkey necks in it and deboned it so it's in here. Because the turkey necks wouldn't have enough time to cook in here. If you're going to let this cook a long time, then you could have put the whole turkey necks. But whenever I'm cooking with turkey necks, I'll do the back after gumbo, where I'll actually boil while the turkey necks are boiling. I'll be making my roux, and I'll bring the roux into the gumbo. If you do that, you let that roux cool off. You bring that hot roux into that boiling gumbo, and you're going to have an explosion in your face. This is as authentic and culture as it gets. Thank you, Ricky. Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you, man. Okay. Because this right here is true tradition. That's what's good about it. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to start tasting this for flavor. Now, when I eat this tonight, I'm not eating this over rice. I love red bean gumbo. I like to eat all my gumbos like a soup. I get better flavor from it. But if you want to cook you some rice, that's fine. If you want a good rice, use some jasmine rice. Ooh. I have to cook some more, boy. You can start tasting the red beans. And something else, I will bring some chicken in. I'm going to go ahead and bring that now so you can start cooking. That's some chicken thigh meat. If you rather put chicken breast, that's fine. I just like a little flavor. I find chicken breast is just like chewing in this towel. That's just one man's opinion. And remember, people used to follow Weight Watchers, and chicken breast had no points. And you know, ever did Weight Watchers, but chicken thigh meat had points. About a year ago or 2 years ago, they changed it. No chicken had points anymore because they're both good. A little drop left, let's add it to the gumbo. All right, Glenn, what kind of gumbo? Buddy, we're cooking a red bean gumbo. Now, that picture of eggs, eggs are coming soon, Sassy. So this picture of red bean gumbo, where's the can at, man? This was a whole number 10 cans of red beans. This is the kind you would find in the cafeteria, or I would have cooked in the restaurant. I never used a can of Blue Runner to cook and serve. Well, but I always keep me a few cans around because the beans, sometimes when they're old, I would have trouble getting them to break and cook all the way, and it would take too long. Add you a couple cans of Blue Runner, and it'll loosen them up. Definitely an East Bank thing. I can't do a red bean gumbo. I need some. Oh yeah, Kirby, we got plenty on doing, brother. Let's see, Rabbit. My mom used to cut up some turnips and add in. Man, Rabbit, I like that. Kind of like that. Hey, Lane, put that bag over there and cut up one of them turnips. Rabbit, we're gonna do it. What the hell? Cause look, I like turnips in anything. So, Rabbit, let me ask you something. Your mama used to cook a red bean gumbo? Dino, thank you, brother. See, we're gonna add a little turnip to this thing. Little one. All right, this thing taking on some good color. This thing is about ready to get right. So if you've never eaten this before, it's really easy to cook. Now, if you go across the river, they're gonna have probably 50 different ways to cook this. This is not the only way I've done it. I know some people put liquid crab oil in it across the river. I'm not crazy about that. Save me some. I'm going to pass that tomorrow. I'm going to Edward Jones' Christmas party. You got it, brother. Believe me. I'm not going to eat this whole pot. Oh, Terry, what's going on? Love you some red bean gumbo. Rabbit said his mom used to cook it all the time. So see, Rabbit's mom was from Lutcher. So it is an old tradition. Like I said, I couldn't find articles in newspapers before the 1980s, but evidently across the river, this tradition's been going on a long time. And I don't know if you know any stories about her when she said it would have started, Rabbit. And I couldn't find any of our local newspapers to see if we could find how long this tradition has been going on. I really think it started with Blue Runner promoting their beans. Think about it. You got Blue Runner selling their beans all along the river parishes. Why not make a red bean gumbo and promote their red beans? Let's see. Rod, man, he's watching me make this gumbo, thinking of my uncle of mine that loves smoked coon gumbo. I never tried it though. Smoked coon gumbo is one of the damn best gumbos you're ever going to eat. Yep. So now we're going to bring a little turnip in. What the hell? I like to take suggestions. So there's our turnip, fresh turnip out the garden. What do you say, Bones? I'm not going to bring a lot in because I don't want to overpower it. This is something, again, you would bring in what you want to bring. Like one time, I was making a dish, and one of the guys that come here in the morning, he's gone now. But he said his mom used to scrape an apple to put in it. I found it was very interesting, and I did it, and it works. It's the sweet of the apple that made it work. This went from a little bitty pot of gumbo to a really big pot of gumbo right here. And this freezes well. This will actually be way better tomorrow than it's going to be tonight. It's going to be a lot better tomorrow than tonight. And the only thing I don't like that I cook, that I do not like the next day, and I'll eat it, is a jambalaya. To me, a jambalaya is only good the day it's cooked. After that, dog food. But I'll eat it the next day. It's not a problem. It's just something that's just the way I am. Okay. One beer down. I think they had a hole in that bottle. And one thing about those anything that smoke makes an awesome gumbo. You got that right, Roland? Does it have to come to a boil to thicken? Yeah, Mike. So you want this thing to boil? And what we're going to do, once we get it to a boil, you put it to a simmer. Mike, you would just let it simmer because we've cooked the roux down. We've cooked the roux out, got the enzymes and starches out so it doesn't taste sandy. So the longer this cooks now, the better it's going to be. Once this comes, you get it to a good boil, you bring it down to a simmer and let it go for about half hour to an hour. But you got to watch. As it's simmering, it's going to start thickening, okay? Now, you remember, we don't want this to thicken and be like a stew. We want it more like a thick soup. Everybody likes that gumbo different. Some people like it real thin. Some people like it, I like mine, between a soup and a stew. Everybody's different. It's how you like it. And actually how you were raised, how your mama cooked it. How mom and them cooked it. That's the way you're going to like it. You think deer would work in red bean gumbo? Yep. What I would use in here is, Glenn, I would have me some smoked deer sausage. And it would work in here. Now you see the smoke. The funny thing is, you get away from here and you don't see the smoked meats like you do over here. We're really strong on our smoked meats. And when Oak Alley had their arts and crafts show, I cooked gumbo every year. Did it for 20 years. Had a gumbo. A lady came by one time. She bought 10 containers. 10 minutes later, she came back. She said it was the worst gumbo she ever ate. I gave her money back. Man, I was kind of bummed out. I said, damn, I don't know what I did wrong. I tasted great. And I said, I know what it is. Half hour later, a guy came by. He said, man, I want to buy 10 bowls of that gumbo. No, he said, I want to buy a bowl. He bought a bowl of gumbo. He went off and ate it. He came back and said, I want 10 bowls. It's the best gumbo I ever ate. If you're not used to the smoke, if you're not from around here, you're not used to the smoke, you may not like our gumbo. That's something to keep in mind. Now, when tourists would come over, first they would stop in New Orleans. They would stop in New Orleans and eat the New Orleans gumbo. New Orleans is going to have more of the commercial sausages, commercial andouille in it. They're not going to be smoked like we are in the river parishes, because we can go, I have my own smoker. We like to smoke our own meats. When they got over here, they would all say 100%, this gumbo is so much better. Why is it so different? And it's the smoked meats that we put in. And smoking is an art. You better know what the hell you're doing. And of course, the wood that you use is going to make a difference in your smoked meats. I like to use pecan. Everybody's got their different wood and their different stuff they use. Yeah, I'm stepping on my clicker there. And we'll go check in the pot now. There you go. But yeah, Glenn, I wouldn't put deer meat in here, but I would make this with deer sausage. No doubt about it. But I made rabbit gumbo, coon gumbo. I've already made andouille with Nutra. Good. Roland said to use hickory. I've used hickory before. It does a really good job. Got to be careful with it. It's a little strong. Tell you what, you use a lot, you use less. I've used mesquite. To me, that was the best wood I've ever smoked with. But it's hard. It's like trying to cut this damn table with a saw. When I was a teenager, me and my 3 brothers would polish that whole. Yeah, no kidding. You got that, Mike, right? Mike, you got that right. Oh, hell yeah. Man, this thing's getting right. Mike, you talking about teenager. I tell my daughters both of my daughters have sons. I tell them all right. I tell them all the time when they become boys are like termites. They eat anything and everything and they don't quit eating. They're not stopping. Ooh. Good smoke flavor. Got them good flavor and beans in here. I'm going to bring a little bit red pepper in. Not a whole lot. I'm going to bring a little salt into it. Remember, this flavor is going to get a lot better tomorrow. You got to be careful of the seasoning that you bring in. And bring in a little black pepper. They had a lady here today, and she was talking about, look, I get a lot of compliments on my andouille. But she was talking about buying andouille other places, and they put black pepper in it. She can't eat it. As we get older, some people in their gastro system can't handle the black pepper. Anybody my age is going to remember, radiator sprung a leak, put some black pepper in, that will just stop leak. It doesn't digest well, and it will give you trouble. That's why I do not use black pepper in my andouille. Do I like it? I love it, but I don't use it. Ben, with some smoked wood ducks, be good in the red bean gumbo? Yep, sure would. What kind of side you go with that? Potato salad, Hollywood. Now, put some love. You put the potato salad in on the side. I like mine in. Mike just asked about that. The loving for the cane farmers. It's grinding time. Yes, indeed. Put a little bit in there. Catch me that bag of filet down at the bottom. So, Roland, filet, I have some. When we had the restaurant, I would never, ever, ever put filet in the gumbo while I was cooking. Why? Some people don't like it. But I would have it on the side. If you ask for it, I would give it to you on the side. This bottle's old. This bottle's been here a while. I can't get it anymore. So I guard this. Ooh. I'm going to put a little bit in here. Now you got to be careful. If you put too much, remember, filets are thickener. If you put too much, you can overpower it. Now I don't put much in here, but if I want some more, I can always add a little bit while I'm eating. And this thing's got a really, really good consistency to it. Let's go down in the pot. You see that good brown color in here? And believe me, the red beans have helped make this color. I didn't see you add this, but we also add 2 of Rotel. We got to be careful. Yeah, I didn't add it in. I didn't add any Rotel, Terry. I know they use it. Some people put the Rotel. I don't put it in mine, but there's nothing wrong with that. And you're right. You better be careful. Rotel's got that little piquant in it. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, this thing get right. See, tonight, it can actually use some more seasoning, but no way I'm gonna add that tonight. I'm gonna bring my parsley in. Time to do a French bread dive. And Terry, I did see a lot of recipes in the paper from all areas. Some put the rotel in, some didn't. It was all over the place with that. Baron, what's happening, my brother? Oh, you're back home, huh? Now, something we used to serve, we used to cut a little piece of French bread about this big around, about that thick. You got 3 pieces. When you bought a bowl of gumbo, we'd butter them, we put them on the grill and we'd butter them. Put a little butter and then let that butter toast on the grill. You talk about good to dip in the gumbo. And you see, if you bought a cup of gumbo, you didn't get any. You had to buy the bowl. You see, if we didn't give that bread, people get mad at us. Woo. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give this one more stir. Because I'm getting ready to bring these eggs in. Once you put these eggs in, thank you, Harvey. You have to leave it alone. Let these eggs poach. Don't ask me why, but some reason this changes the flavor of your gumbo. Now, how many eggs you want to put? How many people are going to eat? If this pot's going to feed 10 people, put 10 eggs. You don't want to leave anybody out, okay? Now, it won't take long for these eggs to poach. But if you try to stir this pot, you're going to bust them eggs up. If you have to stir, you come in very, very slow. And you kind of move it around. But really, try to stay out of it. Look down in the pot. You can see the eggs starting to poach already. See it right here? So the eggs are starting to get a little poach going. And you don't want to have it on a super boil. If you do, you'll break your eggs up. So bring it down, let it cook slow. What you got cooking next show? I don't know yet, Hollywood. I might, if I can find some nice heads of cabbage, maybe I'll cook some cabbage. Because I'm due for some smothered cabbage now. Ooh. Now, while it's cooking, I said you couldn't stir. Nobody said you couldn't dip, though. I have a good homemade garlic bread toasted with my stews and gumbo for dipping. Oh, hell yeah, Glenn. Claude, you need to cook a good chicken stew one night for your show. Hey, Claude, that's not a bad idea. I like that. It's time for a good chicken stew. Maybe I'll do that and save the cabbage for New Year's. I think that's what I'm going to do. So chicken stew it is next week. Okay. I'm going to check my eggs. Yep. Now, I would have put more eggs in here. I would have put more eggs in here. But I didn't want to use all my eggs. I need some for breakfast tomorrow morning. Melissa, sorry I'm so late. Did you put the parsley yet? Yes, ma'am. I sure did. Boy, Terry getting excited over there. I did not forget my parsley tonight. Smothered cabbage and pork chop. That's going to be one right before New Year's, Claude. That would be a good one. That way you got your smothered cabbage before your New Year, part of your New Year tradition. See, Claude said that chicken stew. I'm all about a chicken stew. We're going to get this served. Okay. Let me dip. Okay, that's what I was trying to get. And there's the poached egg. You see it? Get a top-down view of it. And that poached egg, when you go eat that little bowl right there, is going to make a huge, huge difference. All right. Let's see what we got going on. And like I said, if you want to put yours over rice, that's fine. I've got to put a double bowl because this damn bowl is hot. Oh, Lord. There's that piece of turnip Rabbit was talking about. I'll tell you what. The turnip actually tastes like a potato. The good chicken stew and butter beans. Oh, yes, indeed. You ain't gonna let the Amazon man in. We got Amazon delivering right now. Oh, y'all. If this don't make you dance, I don't know what to tell you. This is some good stuff. Oh, man. So when you make your bowl of red bean gumbo, make your pot of red bean gumbo, get when you have some time. Let it go, slow cooking. Easy does it. And if you don't feel like cooking your red bean gumbo tonight, don't forget about the Festival of Bonfires. Get out there, go out there and get you some gumbo, pay that $10. And man, go eat all the gumbo you want. I would think it's about 4 o'clock. You actually start getting, it's either 4 or 5 o'clock. You can actually start eating the gumbo. Yeah, gonna have some bands, gonna have a good time. Like they say, at Shy, you can go past a good time. One more taste before we get out. So next week, some good old chicken stew. Tomorrow, this gonna be out the box. Terry, you know where they got some at, baby? Y'all. Nothing says good like a red bean gumbo. So thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. Man, it's got me dancing after I eat it. Oh, hell yeah. Thank you, Lord. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. And thank you, Don. And we'll see y'all next week to do a little chicken stew. We're going to slide into Christmas with a little with them chickens. And then after that, we're going to do some smothered cabbage and some smothered pork chops. I'm going to see if I can't get me 2 pans going at one time, because that right there goes great. Oh, thank you, Coach. Thank you. Great again. I like that. So y'all, thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Love y'all. God bless y'all. I missed y'all these last 2 weeks, but man, I was a busy man. And that's the way I like it. That's the way, I like it. See y'all next week. Love y'all.
Don't get me wrong,